in many circles, I'm an actress. I'm known as an actress. I've been an actress since I was 11 years old. But who I am, acting is what I do. Uh, who I am is Samara's mama. I'm a friend. I'm someone's daughter. I'm someone's mama. Um, who I am is much more than what I do for a living.
And what is it that you love most about who you are?
I love most about myself that I am the same with pretty much everyone. I'm pretty transparent and I speak my truth. I tell the truth, even though the truth is subjective.
Mm-hmm.
I don't lie to the best of my ability. I made that pact with myself many, many, many years ago that I just won't lie. And
Even
I
the
like
little white ones
even
that
even
say feelings.
even and especially the little white ones, because those are the ones that you really have to ask why. Why are you lying about something so silly, so little, so in passing? What was hard was teaching myself how to tell the truth with kindness.
Right, because the truth is not always a palatable thing. Like it's not always something that people can take.
Yeah.
And it's not also not animosity or, anything like that either. So
Yeah.
it's just like, how do you constantly bring that type of truth in a space where people don't always want to hear the truth?
And most people don't.
No.
Most people don't.
No.
And that speaking truth has nothing to do with what people want. It has to do with what people deserve.
That is a distinction.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. That's good to know. That's good to know. I loved reading. I saw an article. It was like 25 things that we didn't know about you. And the thing about telling the truth and not lying was on there. And so was the fact that you have very little friends, but the ones that you do have, those are them your people. So I can only imagine that that comes from a type of person like you who carries the truth no matter what.
I think most people have very few friends.
To be honest.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
you have a lot of people. I know
I
a
know a
lot
lot of
of
people.
people. I know a lot of people, and there are a lot of people that I like. There are a lot of people that are in my life in one capacity or another. But the handful of friends, of people that I call friends, um, I don't relegate those to likes or Facebook friends,
Yep.
or clocking friends, or there are a lot of different friends that's taken on a whole different meaning now. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the old school word for meaning of friends, the people that you call in the middle of the night and say, come, and they get out their beds and come and then get to wherever you want to go. What?
Right. Right.
What?
That is a
What's
friend.
wrong? Um,
Those are friends. That's
mhm.
real. Well, in the lifetime of your career, we've seen you do a million things, a million amazing things, and so many different incredible roles and surrounded by incredible people. And I'm curious about your longevity because a lot of actors that I've talked to that have a similar decade span talk about the fact that you got to be liked people gotta at least just like to be around you. So how would you attribute your longevity, especially because you've been in so many amazing places?
I have inadvertently continued to reinvent myself, which I only recently realized,
Oh,
um, in a conscious kind of way. I think that each decade has brought a very particular quality, and the roles I've played in each decade have, those roles have reflected that quality that I'm fostering in myself.
mm,
And which comes first, the chicken or the egg? I'm really not sure. The roles or the growth, the personal growth. Um, and so because I'm really dedicated to a kind of no, don't even try, Lorraine. I'm dedicated to a level of authenticity in my life that speaks to the inside reflecting the outside and the outside inside. It's no accident that it gets reflected in my work.
right.
And so I think that that attempt and commitment, not even attempt, but commitment to authenticity might be attractive to people. It may be attracting to people.
Yeah.
Because with me, you either like me or you don't. And there are people who don't like me. I'm I know I don't track them and I don't keep track of them because why? Why do
That's a
I?
blessing.
But um, I would think that there are people who don't like me, and I may be difficult to sort of tolerate or have a different palate for me.
Yeah.
Um, but I think for the most part, you never have to wonder where you are with me.
Mm,
And I would think that that's comforting. You just, and I'm pretty non-judgmental. I'm pretty non-judgmental. You really can show up just the way you are. I may not spend a lot of time with you, depending on how you show up,
right.
but you're free to show up. You're welcomed to show up. In fact, it's lovely because then I know who you are too.
Right.
So I would think that that's a good quality. I like that quality in people, and
Hmm.
so I'm hoping they like it in me,
Yeah,
or
that
they
is a good. Well, listen,
or they
truth
don't.
tellers and stuff like that, those are really amazing qualities, and people say they want that around, and sometimes it's not the case. But I think that when it comes to just being authentically you, that is present. That is something that people can see and people can feel, especially in a space where, so many people think Hollywood is filled with fakery and whatever. But I think that authentic people are, like you said, attracted to authentic people.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Well, when I think in my presence, I would like to hope that people feel seen
Hmm. I like that.
because my intention is to see you, right? Um, and I know that that's really one of the things we only want in life is to be seen and heard.
Hmm.
And so I certainly endeavor to do that with people, and I like people. I mean,
Yeah.
I genuinely like people. I'm genuinely interested in people,
Yeah.
and um, I with no agenda. I don't want anything from them, but I'm really interested. I mean, I'm as interested in other people as I am interested in myself. I'm
Yeah.
interested. I'm
Right.
really interested. So um, half the time I'm rather preoccupied with being interested in how interesting I am. And I'm always surprising myself,
Right.
with I like surprising myself. Um, so we're talking a lot about me anyway. So
Well, because it's about you, Queen.
I
That's what
know,
we're
I
here
know,
for.
but just so Which is another thing I don't do very often, talk about myself. So,
Well, that's what I like to do, because essentially as a journalist, like one of the things I love doing most is connecting with people like you who have reached so many amazing like peaks of their life and of their career. And then if I can talk to you and understand how you think and how you move, I can share that with people so that they too can feel like they have that tool to be able to reach as well. So I like, being able to talk to you about your career and everything, yes, but you as the person that you are, I love that. So I'm grateful when you share. Yeah.
me, me too.
So thank you for that. I was going to ask you, because of your roles and you've gotten to do so many things, sci-fi and all of that, is there something that you feel like you haven't had yet that you kind of you have your eye on?
Oh yeah, I really want to do something. I'm something futuristic, something sci-fi, something in space. Um, I like alternate realities,
Yeah.
and so I've played a lot of very real people,
Hmm.
judges, and lawyers, and doctors, and those sort of people. I'm sort of interested in playing people in alternative
We would
reality.
love.
Um,
Yeah.
there's a level of freedom in playing those characters in those worlds that speak to an expanded imagination,
Hmm.
um, and I'm wanting to play in that realm more now.
Yeah, we would love to see that. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
More and more. Let's give the lady her thing.
Thank
Sci-fi,
you.
other worlds, other planets.
That's
Um,
why I love doing Into the Badlands. Oh my God,
oh my
I
gosh, your
loved
whole get up with the thing. I loved it.
that was big fun. That was fun.
Yeah. More of that,
Yeah. Yeah.
please. Well, in looking at you right now in your beautiful mane and thinking back to all the times I've seen you on screen, one thing we could never say about Lorraine Toussaint is her hair is not in place. Even when it's out of place, like Orange is the New Black, it's in place. So as a Black
But it's like
actress,
I cope with like this now. It's like I
listen, it
snatch
is
it in the morning and it's like, okay,
it.
that's good. That'll work.
That is some beautiful hair. So in all this time, hair is important. And a lot of times actors on set, have to deal with people not being able to maneuver around our hair or our skin when it comes to makeup. So what are some of the ways that you've been able to ensure that you put it together perfectly fine when you get on screen?
You really want to know?
Oh yeah. Because it's never a questionable mess.
Well, that's because I don't leave a lot of it up to chance. And um, you know, I've worked on camera for the last 3 decades and more in the theater. Um, my mama used to do hair in the kitchen.
Ah,
She used to
yeah.
do press and curls to the ladies in the neighborhood. And so it was on a Saturday, there were ladies lined up in the back stairs, sitting and waiting to get my mama to do press and curl. And
Right.
when you twirl the curler and you
Oh
use
yeah.
newspaper, and if it burned the newspaper, it was too hot. And then you
Right.
twirl it some more, and so I grew up in the kitchen with my mama doing hair. So I show up on set, I know how to do hair. I know how to do hair. I went to conservatory, so I know how to do my own makeup, right?
Right.
And so you got to really bring it when I sit in the chair, because I know you can't give me a 6 for a 9. I know what it is, right? And I
Right.
know, and after all these decades of my face on camera, Lord knows I know what works and what doesn't work, right?
Mhm.
And so again, you like me or you don't like me, because I do show up in the hair and makeup chair. I do my own foundation,
Mm.
always, always,
Wow.
always,
Well, you know what you're doing.
and have for decades.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I've had some really lovely, wonderful makeup artists, and I've had some. Uh, I haven't had nearly enough Black makeup artists, but I have also had a handful of white makeup artists that were absolutely wonderful.
Mhm.
But I've got to tell you, for the most part of for the majority of my career, I have been challenged sitting in the hair and makeup chair. And so um, I show up foundationed, and I mixed my own. And because here's the deal, we know that our color in January is different from our color in June. Our
Yeah,
color in June is different from our color in August.
right.
From August to October, we is one color. Then from November through February, we is another color.
There's
And it's a
double.
completely different color.
Yeah,
And God help us of those in between times when we're neither one or the other.
right.
So to be able to see those subtle differences in color, I have not found very many makeup artists that are not of color that have been able to perceive those subtle differences.
Mhm.
Um, I do a lot of teaching when I sit in the makeup chair, and I'm very patient because, as I must repeat, I've worked with many, many makeup artists who are white, that we have come to a real understanding and a real knowledge of my skin and my face, and so but in the beginning, I just don't leave a whole lot of it to chance. I come in, and with hair, Lord, whoo, I've been burned. I mean, literally burned. And so, I've had years ago, my litmus test, excuse me, often was if the person was not of color, I would say, can you do a press and curl? Do you know what a press and curl is? And can you do a press and curl? Like a real old school, not a flat iron,
Right.
a real press and curl. And I've had art hair people lie and go yes, and I sat in the chair and go, ooh. I've also had a lot of hair fall out. I've had a lot of stuff. So now, um, depending on the project, depending on the style, depending on what we're doing, I will often do a lot of prep
Mhm.
before I get to set, and so that again, um, any potential damage is mitigated because I come to set almost camera or at a stage where it's easy for a hair person, regardless of who they are,
Right.
to manage it. It's rare that I've been able to come to set with hair just washed
Mm.
and said, here you go, girl,
Have at it.
have at it. Straighten it, press it, curl it, the 2 hours it takes. And also it's time. We know that our hair takes time. If you come in with virgin hair and they're gonna whip it, that's 2 hours, and you don't often have that kind of time on set. So um, I do a lot of prep at home. That's a long answer for I do a lot of it at home.
But it's good to know because it doesn't matter how high the caliber of a show, you feel like you need to make sure that things are prepared and people understand what they're doing because this hasn't been your experience. And that's like, how is it possible?
And then, there's some projects I've had personals that I've been able to take from one job to another, to another, to another, and those are
Right.
really lovely. But sometimes that's not possible. So you work with what you got.
You work with what you got. Well, you made it look like it's a lot because you always put together every
Thank you.
time we see you. I want to know because you mentioned that you like surprising yourself. And at this point in your career, I'm curious about like what it would look like for you to take risks.
Mhm.
Um, because I don't think that you being a sci-fi queen on another planet is necessarily a risk because I could see that. for you, and I can see you in that. But what would a risk look like?
I've been thinking about that recently because I'm wanting to put together some projects that are risky. Um, I'm looking to do, when you get to be a certain age, and I'm over 60, and I'm looking to do an interesting love story.
Yeah.
There are all different kinds of risk. There's emotional risking, there's physical risking, there's exposure risking, there's emotional pushing the envelope risking in roles. Um, I'm sort of looking to do all of the above, um, but I have a sense that there's a level of I'm really luxuriating in my femininity, right?
Yeah.
As I'm sort of in this phase of my life. And what does that actually look like? And how willing am I to share that on film, given the right role? And I don't mean sort of fluffed up femininity, but a kind of a real earthy,
Mm.
open, wide open nakedness, literally and figuratively, that that a role might demand.
Hmm.
Um, I'm feeling pretty brave, which doesn't mean that I'm probably not scared, but I'm feeling brave about the work and the possibility of the kinds of work that's hopefully going to still continue to come to me, especially at this stage in my life and my career.
Yeah. I mean, come on, Queen. And 60, what? Where?
Girl, girl,
Yes, I mean, you look amazing, but I would
thank
love
you.
to see you take on that type of thing, in a vulnerable space as well. Um,
Yeah, yeah. You
yeah,
know, the most vulnerable we can be is with each other, and that those are the biggest risks we can take is with each other
mhm.
in relationship. And so looking at projects that make emotional and relationship demands on me are I'm looking forward to doing those.
Yeah. Well, do you look at your career now and think about like a being proud of yourself, not in the sense of like, patting yourself on the back, but just in awe of what you've been able to accomplish?
No, no. Um, you know, there's a great, I guess, I think it's Chinese proverb that I'm gonna not do justice to, but I think it goes like something like, uh, on the way to enlightenment, you you pick rice and carry water, and on the way from enlightenment, you pick rice and carry water. Um, I just I've always looked at my life like this: one step at a time. I'm focused on the step in front of me. I step, and I'm focused on just the step that I'm taking right now. And so I've had a lifetime of right nows.
Hmm.
And then it's like planting. I plant a seed and I'm focused on that seed, and I plant another seed and I focus on that seed, and I plant another seed and I focus. But then every so often, I do stop and turn around, and there's like a grove behind me or a forest that I've planted that's behind me that I'm, for the most part, unaware of. Except for when those moments when I stop and I kind of look back on it. And so when I do stop, which is not often, and I do sort of take an overview of where I've come from, um, it's impressive. It's impressive. I mean, I feel like, I'm a little girl from Trinidad walking to school with, my books on my back, walking up the hill to government school from, my house, and dreaming of dreams I couldn't even conceive of but I knew I was dreaming of them.
Mm.
And those nameless, formless dreams that just mostly consisted of a longing to be more than where I was
Yeah.
and who I was.
Yeah.
And to be able to have put a name to that longing and to put a face on those dreams, um, I have realized many of my dreams. And I feel like I have lived a life, I have lived well. I have, when I say well, I don't mean like, fancy well, but I mean, I have, I have a life
Life.
that has been good.
Yeah.
I've lived a really, really good life because even the times of suffering and the times of pain and the times of loss have been profound and yet still extraordinary gifts.
Hmm.
Real extraordinary gifts. I have not perceived anything, absolutely anything in my life. Everything, let me reverse, every single thing in my life has been a gift. Every single thing, without exception, it has been a gift.
Hmm.
And so that's a life well lived, I think, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so I feel myself very lucky that, my mama taught me a lot of really important lessons, and I've learned a lot of them along the way, and I've paid attention to them. I've really paid attention.
Yeah.
That's the thing I love about myself. I've paid attention. And so I do. I can look back on this career of mine and think, okay, you've done good. But Lord, there's so much more I want to do.
So
Um,
much more to go.
I love my daughter. I've been a good mom. I've been a good mother. Um, Mostly because I asked my daughter and she said, yes, you have. um, and I've loved, and I continue to love that part of myself. I think almost most, it's right up there with my artistry.
Yeah.
Um, and oftentimes they're one and the same because I think clear and good mothering, parenting is an art unto itself, is high art. Um, and so I have perceived all the aspects of my life as an aspect of art. Everything I do is in some way um, a tribute to my artistry. And
Mm.
so um, I like the way I have chosen to live.
Ooh, ain't that beautiful to be able to say it and know it?
Yes.
Wow.
I know you hops boy.
When I get up off this ground, I should.
What would make you say yes to that type of thing? Like, did you say, "Oh my gosh, is this about to be like Black Cowboys? Let me try. Let me look at this." Or what stuck out to you about it?
You know, Ricky Style, his look, there are not a whole lot of people in this business that actually walk their talk. And when that man called me and told me about this film, number one, I didn't know about these Black cowboys. And I mean, they are bona fide cowboys in the
Yeah.
middle of urban ghetto Philadelphia, hardcore. And here's this community of folks that love their horses. You can't tell them that they don't love their horses. They've kept their horses in their houses when they didn't have any place else to keep them, and kept them tethered to their stoops, because Philadelphia is one of the few places you can have a horse as a pet. And so they are throwbacks from the 1800s. This
Wow.
community of people, generations of cowboys and cow women and cowgirls that still are in the heart of Philadelphia, Black.
Mm-hmm.
So when Ricky called me and told me about this, number one, it was, what a great story. I mean, we're so Black people, we have so many stories and so many untold stories that it blows even our minds how extraordinary and complex we are.
Truly.
And he wrote this film about this community, for this community, and planned to have this community be all up in this movie, playing big roles, small roles, and completely running the behind the scenes of this film. And so, and then I watched his film, The Cage, a short film that he did, again, within the Philadelphia community, and it was powerful. His artistry, and as a cinematographer, as a filmmaker, he had me. But this was a film, he's an activist. And I don't know if he'd call himself that, but he wanted to bring attention to these stables in order to save these stables and stables like this in urban Philadelphia. And so the older I get too, the more I want to I want to give back, and give back in many different ways. And to lend my artistry, my talent to a project that, and this white boy, I mean, props. He is walking the talk in the community, that he lives in the community. He lives in that community, right? And he half of the people that are in his offices and behind the scenes are people that have been incarcerated, because he has a program that brings them out of incarceration and mentors. He's got a mentorship program. I mean, so I was so impressed by him. And he also made awfully pretty pictures. And then, of course, you know, Mr. Talent himself, Idris, was on board. So, girl, who's gonna say no to that?
Point me in the direction of Idris on a horse, and I'm
Idris on a horse, you know.
I'm going.
Sweaty, blood chewing Idris on a horse. I'm in.
Yes. I'm signed up.
It was a wonderful experience. It was a wonderful community experience.
Yeah.
It was guerrilla. There's no doubt about it. It was rough around the edges and guerrilla, and there was it was the film. The money is all on the screen. It was not in the niceties or the comforts on set. But I think because of the community involvement, I think we made a lovely, authentic film that will surprise folks.
I'm excited. I can't wait to see it. Well, I mean, it has been such an honor to chat with you as you sit there in your angelic white. And I know that that's something you do, that you wear a lot of white. I love that. I love that. But I'm so glad to be able to share this time with you, Miss Lorraine Toussaint. It's such a pleasure.
Real with that, yeah.